That's a story that every journalist should be freaking coming with right now. But that is too scary because that's gonna kill your career and you ain't gonna make no money.
The rich and elite are leaving China in big numbers, and they're taking their big money with them. Why? Because China is not their country of choice anymore to live, to prosper, to do business, or even to exercise free will. They'd rather move to safer havens, be it Canada or Singapore. And one man is to blame, Xi Jinping. His regressive policies are pushing the wealthy out of the country, from the zero COVID nightmare to Xi's clampdown on big tech and his own insecurities with business magnates. Equity markets are now in free fall, and it's causing the wealthy to pull the trigger on exit plans. On Gravitas tonight, I'll tell you why China is no longer an attractive destination for the wealthy. I'll tell you why pessimism is now building over the future of the world's second largest economy. I'll tell you how poor governance and repressive policies have ended the era of get rich first in China. Also on the show, a new bill in the US could ban TikTok in the country. The app, of course, is famous globally for its short video viral content, but more so as China's soft power. So why is the US banning TikTok now? Is it playing catch up with India? We'll discuss. The US Securities and Exchange Commission has charged 8 social media influencers for plotting stock manipulation. The influencers schemed an investment fraud on $100 million. That's no chump change. Should influencers be allowed to influence your investments? And it's a season of strikes in the United Kingdom. We're seeing nurses take to the streets in the biggest NHS strike in history. What will happen to the patients? Does the UK government have a plan in place to tackle the rising discontent? We'll find out on the show tonight.
Yeah, so what you think? She covered a bunch of stuff. That was her intro. Do they have a caption? No caption. Man, I hope I'm not muted. Okay, I should be there.
You're not. We can hear you.
Okay. Let me read some comments. It says they're getting to Canada and screaming, we just left this oppression. What did she say? About TikTok. Yeah, that's a thing. Has the state passed that yet? I think they're getting really close to banning TikTok in one of the states.
Not yet, but I was with another little group that was doing a deep dive, and if you look into their user agreement, part of it is it allows access to whatever device you have it on, and all of it, basically everything in there, including pictures, file names, preferences, marketing data. Basically, it is the nightmare spy on you thing that everyone thinks that the government does, but actually there's laws against. That's why they're saying no, there's no reason for them to need to know file names in your phone or on your computer or whatever you've got it up.
Yeah, well, I wonder how many of the other social network have, do they go that far? I mean, I know they're all tracking you.
Time to take a deep read into the user agreement that everyone just goes, okay, and clicks past.
Yeah, well, they got it set up like that because it'd be a long ass 3 pages and shit. I'm not reading that shit either. But
well, remember, not Buffy, but the show Angel did a whole series where they made this app that they agreed, the demons made the app, and it was a social media app, and if you agreed the user agreement, you agreed to give them your soul. And that would actually, I laughed at that so hard because that shit would actually work, man.
It would work. It would so work. But and I don't like TikTok. I hate TikTok, and to hell with it. If it disappeared tomorrow, it wouldn't change my life, and I would,
It's fun. It is fun, but it is also a nightmare. But it is such a great source for content and stuff like that. I mean, you could do shows just making fun of TikTok. I'm serious.
And I probably could get clicks. I have a TikTok, but I don't post on it. But maybe, the hate of TikTok could just be this, corporations versus the Chinese corporations. You know what I'm saying? Like a more money driven type of thing. You know what I mean?
Maybe
competition.
Just maybe Mr. Facebook dropping reels and Instagram doing shorts wants to kick the big boy out of the business.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. And but I think that we should have some diversity where there's some competition, because that's the problem. They have all these monopolies, so they want a monopoly with that shit. But the TikTok does the reels the best. I ain't gonna lie. The little short videos, they do it better than everybody else.
Law enforcement and military personnel are not allowed to have TikTok on their phones while they're on any phone that they have while they're active or in active duty.
It's probably good. But then too, it could just be this Chinese,
or rather that they use for, purposes of their work.
Yeah, but it could just be this Cold
Government
War
employees
China.
are not allowed either.
It could just be a Cold War China thing, and then it's related to the corporations because they want the American corporations to make that money.
Like I said, read the user agreement. There's some stuff in there you're agreeing they have access to that it's like, why? I read this. They actually read through it on the one I was.
But I'm willing to bet that all of the other ones probably just very similar.
There's a lot of similarities, but they're not as deep. They're not as big. We have a law, and this is what that whole thing was about. America does have a law that you only are allowed access to so much or certain parts of the data. And
unless you give away your consent.
Beyond that, and this one goes so far beyond that. And there's not an unless with American. There is a limit to what they can have access to. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. This allows access beyond those, and it really is promoted toward kids. And so now they have access to all this kids data, browsing, web browsing, social media, contact information, all of that stuff.
It's probably predicting future purchases of these kids because they have all these cool ass algorithms, complex ass algorithms. They get enough information.
I like the way you said purchases of these kids.
Well, yeah, because that's the kids and then as they get older, they really drive the economy big time. And then it's, at some point they're going to be adults. So, China always looking 50 years ahead. These probably they're probably mining for their future consumers because they're
mining for economic superiority.
But again, it's the same with the American corporations.
Again, they have laws and limits that they don't have in China. Like I said, this is one of those. Trust me, look into this. It is shocking.
I played a clip that showed how TikTok is different in China. They don't have the same version that they send out.
No, that's because they couldn't use that one here. American law just shut them completely the flip down. They said, nope, you have to redo one that will work here. And there's a lot of countries that have banned TikTok because of the information gathering that it has.
But beyond the information gathering part, I think that it's just freaking super detrimental. It's a horrible thing. It's frying everybody's brain. You know, these silly dances, they're all the same. They're not even good exercise or whatever. Like it's mind numbing. It's
Yeah, but
they just they
have you
scroll.
thought, but that's not all it is though.
They scroll
Dude,
reel after reel
I
after
get
reel,
I
and you're
get
just
all
sitting
kinds of
there.
D&D content on there, all kinds of political content
It's
on
the
there.
same thing Deuce be saying. But
The
I
more
don't
you
like.
watch, the more it lends towards the things that you watch. It's like a big echo chamber. If you start watching nothing but liberal stuff, pretty soon it's going to have nothing but liberal stuff. If you watch little girls dancing in their mini skirts around a lot, then that's what you're going to end up getting. My
Yeah,
big
so
problem is they're not curbing some of these little 13-year-olds from dancing around like that, and it's another
it's
reason why people are having problems with it.
that's just one part of it that sucks. I'm telling you, that's what I feel. I feel like that. I feel TikTok is terrible, man, and it has had a huge impact on the kids, and it's terrible. It's horrible. It's mind numbing.
It's also Chinese government moderated, meaning anything you do that goes against the Chinese government and their bylaws gets automatically deleted with no. They don't even say anything to you; it just gets deleted.
The kid,
Lot of people talk about comment like they've got a Winnie the Pooh figure in over their shoulder or a poster, and their whole post got deleted because anything Winnie the Pooh related in China is completely banned because of an internet meme that they had whatever his name is dressed up, and they had him looking like Winnie the Pooh. And it became a big meme, and it's an insult to the supreme leader, or whatever they call him. And so all Winnie the Pooh references have been scrubbed from China.
That's petty. So, but like I say, I think the problem
Welcome to the
really
Let's
is,
Go Brandon world.
yeah.
Like they tried to scrub that. Oh, I thought it was funny, even though it was dumb.
The Let's Go Brandon.
Yeah.
It's anyways on that. I just think the amount of time that they spend on there, all of that scrolling, it just can't be healthy. That's the problem I have with it. And the content that be on there is just terrible. Let me read some comments. It says, "This is a natural social law. When conditions in a specific area are no longer good, then the most wealthy will leave and seek better opportunities because they can. Left behind are those without possibilities to escape hell on earth." Yeah, I don't know. I think some of that can be a narrative, being with this news story, because that's what I was thinking about, the wealthy leaving China. I'm sure that there are numbers, but you know, people always feel attached to what they feel is their home or whatever, and then they have certain businesses. They could be oligarchs, but their businesses are, intertwined in a way that it would behoove them to be around nearby, and they don't want to leave. You have the ones that don't want to leave. They still have pride. Chinese people are very prideful people, in their history and heritage. I think a lot of them aren't going to leave and won't leave. So I think that story is overall, I think it's a bit of a narrative. Let me read some more. It says, "From the USA, fascinating new style and from very different perspective, though plenty of indications of shared liberal values across cultures." Another comment, it says, "Thank God I live in Alaska and can go out my back door and see sanity in a beautiful and stillness. The news is not news anymore when I hear so much of the same. I appreciate your reporting. You are truthful and reach many whom would needlessly suffer from lack of reliable information otherwise." Another comment, "God bless the people of China." Another comment, "Imagine leaving China only to go to next China." I'm telling you, that's a heavy comment right there. Because I think that they are ahead when it comes to like the perception of the way things are going. Like we're going in the direction of China here in the States. Like we're behind them. And I don't mean like as far as technology, even though that could be true. I'm talking about the way the social structures are built, the way the systems are done, even the government. Let me read another comment. It says, I think this pandemic has taught people the importance of multiple streams of income. Imagine investing 3,000 and receiving 12K per week trading. Unfortunately, having a job doesn't mean security. Rather than having different investments is the real deal. Man, it's easy to say that, bro. We on the grind. We don't have 3,000 to invest. If we lose that 3Gs, we hurt. You don't understand.
It's easy to say that when you've got the money to put 12 investments. They say the saying is, give a rich man $10,000 and he'll give you $1 million. Give a poor man $10,000 and he'll give you 1,000. Well, if it didn't cost $9,000 to survive and eat and live for the poor man, when the rich man has what he needs and can take that money and invest it, that there's a big difference there.
Especially with the risk. It's the risk factor.
$12,000 to invest, I would be able to.
Yeah, it's the risk factor.
I'd have a car, and I would be having the rest of it setting back to buy a place. I mean,
yeah. So the person that's poor losing that money, it might mean he can't pay his rent or pay his car note or eat. Sense of the news.
A mass exodus is underway in China. An exodus of the rich and the wealthy. They're fleeing the country en masse, seeking asylum in democratic nations. But the question is why? Why do they want to leave? And the answer is Xi Jinping.
And then the narrative, she said, seeking asylum in democratic nations. Is that true? So it's like, that's the whole thing too, talking about communism versus, and then
compared to China, compared to China, almost anywhere except the Middle East is going to be democratic.
So that's what I'm saying. So saying it in that way is dramatic.
His repressive policies have impelled this exodus. His crackdown on millionaires, his clampdown on free speech, his repression of protests, and of course his draconian pursuit of those who have created the Chinese economic boom in the first place in the past 2 decades. This is forcing people to leave, making them shift to safe havens. I'll start with some numbers. Since 2012, more than 600,000 Chinese citizens have sought asylum overseas. 600,000. Out of this, more than 100,000 asylum applications were filed in 2020 alone.
But how can you say it says 6,000? Are those rich? How do you know those are rich people? I'm willing to bet that most of those people weren't.
2022, this year, more than 10,000 high net worth individuals from China said they wanted to leave the country along with their money.
So then it says 10,000 high net worth Chinese citizens wanted to leave in 2022. So that's not saying that they left.
The next big question, where are they going? Which countries are they relocating to? According to one report, the most popular destinations are the US, Singapore, Australia, and Canada. Let me show you some reports now. This one's from the 11th of December. It says that Canada is witnessing a spike in emigration of Chinese nationals. This year, there was a 15% rise in applications from Chinese nationals. Canada's Department of Immigration and Citizenship apparently received more than 9,925 applications, and they were all for permanent residency. Look at this report now. It says that after Xi Jinping's re-election as president, online searches for ways to leave China have exploded. Last month, more than 60 million people searched for information on WeChat. A week later, when another COVID-19 wave hit the country, the number of searches for leaving rose to 80 million in one day, 80. Another report says that the rich Chinese worth over $48 billion want to leave, meaning they want to leave China with their wealth worth $48 billion. If this happens, this will be the second largest wealth outflow for any country. Russia is number one on this list, and now China will come second.
Yeah, I think there's a whole lot of speculation going on here. You know, they want to leave, but the headline is saying that it's a mass exodus, like they're leaving. It says the rich and elite flee to safe havens, but that's not what we're saying in the story. Really, we're saying they want to leave. You know, and then when you think about the lockdowns, you know, it's pretty damn understandable that a lot of people would want to leave given those conditions.
Well, remember, they're not like here. When they lock down over there, they will shoot you if you come out. They will freaking beat you down if you protest. I mean, if you take a look at how they handle their people and stuff like that, and some of the stuff going on, it's not a nice place, man. And it's not going to get better. And they want to leave because 80% of everything they make goes to the state right off the top. I mean, and they're still making that much money. Plus, another thing is to own a business, you have to share all secrets and intellectual property with the government. That's a big part of why they don't want TikTok on the phones, is because it's going to give them access to, and computers, is because it's going to give them access to a lot of that stuff.
Let's play the TikTok segment.
I actually put an article in your messenger about why. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it. Let's play the TikTok segment.
Now, staying with China, let's talk about its soft power, TikTok. Is TikTok a Chinese surveillance system? Is TikTok spying on you, trying to control your mobile phones? The United States is now trying to ban the Chinese video sharing app. American leaders are convinced that the Chinese app must be deleted and banned for good. A bill has already been passed in the US Senate by a voice vote. It bars federal employees from using TikTok on government devices. It's only a matter of time before the ban gets a nod from the House of Representatives and gets US President Joe Biden's signature. Will that be the start of the end of TikTok? I don't know how many of you are familiar with this notorious app story, its history. Let's rewind. China exported TikTok in 2017. Soon it brought Musical.ly and transferred its 100 million users to TikTok. TikTok's growth has been unmatched ever since. It is the world's most downloaded mobile app since 2020. It has more than 1 billion users worldwide. In fact, in 2012, Android phone users alone spent 16.2 trillion minutes on TikTok. Let that sink in. You know, there is a reason why TikTok clicks with a young audience globally. This app turns average videos into uber cool films and unknown people into celebrities, overnight sensations, or even influencers. Also, TikTok is easy to watch. But is this a rat trap? Was TikTok a net thrown by China to hook youngsters and steal their data? TikTok is dangerous, and I'm not even getting into the deadly trends or inappropriate content. Cyberbullying. Tonight, let's just stick to the problem of data breach and spying. You see, as you spend sleepless nights on TikTok, scrolling through the app during work hours, you must ask, is your browsing pattern and your data falling into the wrong hands? Chances are high, very high. You see, Chinese law mandates the breach of private data. ByteDance and all other Chinese tech companies are required to share their information with the Communist Party of China. It is compulsory. Which explains why India did what it did. TikTok was banned from India in 2020. India was TikTok's largest market. And now, the doors to this market are forever closed for this video sharing app. 2 years and a few more months later, America is trying to play catch up. The app has more than 100 million users in America. Several American states have already banned TikTok in government devices. Maryland is the latest. What were America's concerns? A threat to national security, same as India. In June this year, BuzzFeed reported that ByteDance had access to US consumer data. The next month, the director of America's Federal Bureau of Investigation said that Chinese espionage is the greatest long-term threat to America's economic vitality. Earlier this year, audio files were leaked from TikTok's internal meetings. What came out of these files surprised no one. A member of TikTok's Trust and Safety Department was heard saying, and I'm quoting, "Everything is seen in China." Think about that statement. Then there was a director who was heard referring to a master admin, someone who is based in Beijing. The director went on to say that the master admin, quote unquote, has access to everything.
Everything.
Then something happened last month. The head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation said that China could be using TikTok to influence the app's user. That's a scary thought. Worse, China could possibly be using TikTok to control the user's electronics. And the result is this bill. There isn't much that Republicans and Democrats agree on these days, but China and Chinese surveillance somehow always manage to find bipartisan support. Good for America, not so much for TikTok or its parent company, ByteDance.
So there goes another thing, because I said in the other show, whenever they agree on something and it's bipartisan, that's always something to focus on, some kind of clue, you know what I mean, of what's really going on out here, you know. And the way I take that is, again, I go back to the corporations. But let me read that article that you shared. I'm going to read some of it. So, but they're making this a big story. I don't think that, like, there isn't any truth in it. I just think that it's being used for certain reasons. The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone.
Choose your destiny.